This case has a lot of twists and turns.
Gypsy and her former boyfriend were later sentenced to prison for their roles in her 2015 murder.
And her then boyfriend was also convicted in what was seen as a murder plot.
The 32-year-old previously pled guilty to the second-degree murder of her mother, Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard.
Dee Dee Blanchard?
For years, she had allegedly been the victim of abuse by her mother.
She pretty much yelped it.
Yelped it?
It's like,
Gypsy! Okay.
Yeah, she was loud.
And what did you do when she did that?
It didn't stop me from keep on going.
Okay, you just kept stabbing her?
Yeah.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Gypsy Blanchard.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Tonight, Gypsy Rose Blanchard is a free woman.
Hi besties, welcome to my channel. If you do not know me, my name is Mariana Wilkins, and every week I come in here and I talk with you about some true crime cases, some conspiracy theories, everything scary, spooky, and mysterious. Today's video, it will be a little bit long because it's a very detailed case. You probably heard about it, but you don't remember. I know because I was talking to some friends and they kind of remember, but not really. So I thought that might be the case. Or if the new generation is watching me, hi, check it out. Listen, sit down, lay down, get a little coffee, a little water, everything you want. And let me freak you out a little bit. Not with this face, but with this case we're going to talk about today. Okay? Okay. This is Claudine Blanchard, and she's most known as Dee Dee. And this other lady by her side is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. At first glance, they look like the perfect image of mother and daughter, lovely little family. But things are a little deeper than it seems. Dee Dee was known for taking care of Gypsy, who since the age of 8 was suffering from multiple illness. However, Gypsy was in fact a very healthy girl, and evidence would show that Dee Dee was deliberately fabricating all of Gypsy's health issues. She shaved Gypsy's head so she can look like a person who just got through chemo. She confined her to a wheelchair, and she used to give her medicine so it would mimic symptoms of real diseases. It was not clear what led Dee Dee to do this with her daughter, but it is said by her own family that she was caught lying and stealing, like petty thief, and she was very, very, very manipulative. She was working as a nurse's aide, and when she used to live with her parents, her mother got very sick, so she was taking care of her mother. Now, the family is highly suspicious that she killed her mother. They think that she was poisoning and starving her. Unfortunately, they don't have any proof, but I think it's going to be pretty clear that they might not be that wrong. Healthy professionals believe that Dee Dee was suffering from a mental illness called Munchausen syndrome by proxy, which is a form of abuse. The caretaker, most often a woman, either fakes symptoms or causes real symptoms to make it look like the person she's taking care of is sick. They do this because they enjoy the attention they get by having somebody in their lives who needs the medical or psychological help. This is the third time that I'm recording this video. The first time I recorded in slow motion. The second time I recorded 5 minutes good, and then the microphone, something happens with it, and then I spend 55 minutes on mute. So I'm recording this holding it now. When Dee Dee was 24, she got pregnant with this guy named Rod. They got married because they just thought was the right thing to do. And shortly before Gypsy turned 1, they divorced. Dee Dee then goes to live with her father and her stepmother, and she brings Gypsy with her. When Gypsy was 3 months old, Dee Dee believed that she was suffering from sleep apnea, and that causes them to go to the hospital frequently and spend overnights in there because they have to attach Gypsy to these sleeping monitors. It was later concluded that she did not have any problems, but Dee Dee did not want to listen to nobody. She just kept believing that there was something wrong with her daughter. When Gypsy was 7, she was riding her grandfather's motorcycle. She does get into a small accident, but all that happened was she got a little abrasion on her knee. Didi thought that was too much. She needed a surgery done. And from that day forward, Gypsy was confined to a wheelchair. Gypsy began to be homeschooled by her own mother because she just thought that all her medical conditions was too severe. She could not be at school alone and she could not be too far away from herself, Didi. Eventually, the girls moved to another city and they're paying their rent and bills with the public assistance due to Gypsy's medical conditions and Rod's child support, which was like $1,200 at the time. Gypsy was claimed to suffer with multiple conditions such as vision and ear problems. She needed a feeding tube, a oxygen tank. She suffered with muscular dystrophy, sleep apnea, and etc. She was just suffering with a lot of stuff, and she was going through surgeries on a daily basis. She also used to be in the emergency room a lot for the most absurd reasons. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina happened and they lost everything. The house, documents such as Gypsy's medical records, and her birth certificate. When they were staying in the shelter, a doctor recommended Didi to go to Missouri because due to Gypsy's condition, the doctors over there would be a great help. In 2008, Habitat for Humanity built them a house with everything Gypsy could probably need, such as ramp for her wheelchair, bathtub with jets that will be good for her muscles, anything that she will need for her conditions. That caught the media attention in an astronomical way. They were getting airplane tickets for free to go to doctor's appointments, free tickets to Disney World, lots of charities. They went to a point where since she didn't have a job, that was her mainly income. Her job was taking care of Gypsy, meaning that the way that she received a payment was from charities. And the reason it caught the attention of the media so much was because it was a perfect story. A single mother who was taking care of her handicapped and full of illnesses child since forever. Habitat for Humanity built them this beautiful house with everything they could possibly need. Hurricane Katrina destroyed everything they had and they have to move. Oh my God. Perfect story. It touches people's heart. The entire neighborhood knew about the ladies and they were there to help with whatever they need. They were very hands-on. Didi was very close to a neighbor called Amy, and she used to confess to Amy how Gypsy's dad was never present and he was a really bad man. He was an alcoholic, drug abuser. He used to make fun of handicapped people. He didn't want contact. He never sent money, which was a lie because he was paying for child support. She just painted this image of the most monstrous, horrible bad man ever. So if he ever comes in contact with you, don't believe him because he's crazy, he's evil. And that couldn't be further from the truth. He was a very nice man. He was trying to get in contact with Gypsy since forever. Every time he called, there was an excuse. She was never available. She was sleepy. She was not feeling well. She was getting ready to go to the doctor. He could never talk to her. It was very rare. And because he was never so present in her life, he didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. He thought that she was an actual sick child and that everything that he hears from Didi and from the media is true. Poor guy had no idea. And I don't think we can really blame him. I mean, he could have gotten to the plane and go physically see his daughter because you know where Habitat for Humanity built a house because it's all over the news. So if you really, really tried, he could have gone there. But that's not the case. I'm not here to judge. But I am. Now, Gypsy was a very, very, very likable girl. She was really tiny and small. She had a childlike voice. She had like these big glasses that just make her look so innocent, and she had like the shaved head which made her look so sick. And even though she was going through all of these diseases, supposedly, she was a very up and nice and happy girl. That was just very inspiring to everybody who saw it. On interviews, you can see that Didi is always hovering over Gypsy, and when you don't know the story, you just think that she's a very caring mother. She's just there for her. She's always close. She wants to make her feel safe and protective. But once you know the case, you realize she is very, very much controlling and kind of crazy. For example, if Gypsy was given interviews and she made it seem just a tiny little bit that she was fine, that she was feeling better, that she was not feeling that sick that day, she will squeeze her hand or squeeze her shoulder. And if she didn't like anything that was said, she would literally get a coat hanger and hit her, or she would starve her for a few days or a few hours. So in public, it was beautiful, beautiful family. Privately, it wasn't that much. One day, she went to visit a doctor who ran some exams and came to the conclusion that Gypsy had no problems with her muscles. She did not have muscular dystrophy. So he started wondering, why was she in a wheelchair? Because she clearly is able to walk if she tries to. But Didi did not want to hear about it. She said that he is wrong and that she went to plenty of other doctors and they all told her that she did have the muscular dystrophy, and that is like, look at her, she's a sick poor girl. Like, how can you doubt me? Don't you see that I'm on the news? Don't you see that what everybody's talking about? Do you really think I'm gonna lie about this? And when he asked her for the medical records, she just gives the same excuses, that Hurricane Katrina took everything from her, so she didn't have it. He ended up telling her, like, look, I cannot tell you that she has because she doesn't have it, but I'm gonna put in her medical records that she does not have it. She never came back to the doctor again. The doctor got really suspicious. He tried getting in contact with other doctors that he knew that they went to in the past years, and they all told him the same thing. They told him that they also told her that she didn't have any problems and that they didn't understand, but she never came back. So she was literally hopping from doctors to doctors, and every time a doctor would not tell her what she wanted to hear, she would just never come back there. He ends up putting on her records that she's fine, she doesn't have muscular dystrophy, and that Didi, in fact, might be suffering from her Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Why is it so long? Such a long name. Jesus. Now, them two used to go to events such a science fiction and fantasy convention where you go with costumes, kind of like a cosplay. It might be the same thing. I don't know, because I'm not part of that, but it might be the same thing, like cosplay. And that was the first time that Gypsy tried to escape from her mother. She met this man online and they planned to meet at the convention. She went all the way to his hotel room. Didi, crazy looking for her, finds her in this man's hotel room, and she grabbed her fake birth certificate, shoves to the guy's face and said, look, she's a minor. I'm gonna call the cops. What's going on? Afterwards, Gypsy recalls that her mother grabs the computer and smashed it with a hammer, and then tells her that if she ever does that again, the next thing she's gonna smash with the hammer is her fingers. Then she proceeds to leash and handcuff Gypsy on the bed for 2 weeks and starve her a little bit too. She also said that she filed a report to the police saying that Gypsy was mentally incapacitated and incompetent, and that if she tries to go to the cops and say anything about it, they will not believe her. They're not going to believe you, baby. No. Gypsy, however, continued to use the internet, and in 2012, every time that her mother used to go to bed, she used to grab the computer and she got this website where she met this boyfriend of hers called Nicholas Gojon. They met on a Christian's single dating site. He was around the same age as her, but lived all the way in Wisconsin. He had a criminal record. He was caught watching pornography at a McDonald's, carrying knives in places that he was not supposed to be carrying knives, and he also had a few mental issues such as identity disorder, and he also had autism. In 2014, 2 years later, she confided to her good friend and neighbor, Aaliyah, that she met this boy online. They were planning on eloping and they were discussing names for their future children. Aaliyah, however, just got really worried. She, first of all, thought that Gypsy was way younger than she really was, And she also thought that that might be like a sexual predator who knew about Gypsy's condition and was just a sick fuck. However, she does promise to keep it quiet because Gypsy was begging her not to tell nobody because her mother would be very upset. So Nicholas and Gypsy wanted to go further into the relationship. They already had spent 2 years together, just virtually dating. So they were planning to meet up. Now, how was that going to be possible without her mother interfering? They thought of the perfect plan. She's gonna go to the movies to watch the live action Cinderella, and he's gonna meet them there. So they're just gonna bump into each other and start conversating, and her mother never gonna think that they met before, and everything's gonna work out. It's gonna be a perfect plan. So Gypsy pays for his ticket, and they meet at the movie theater. Now, the first time they see each other, they hurry to the bathroom and they have sex. Later, Nicholas said that was Gypsy's idea. She was the one who was really eager to have this sexual relation. After that, they go to watch the movie. He is trying to make conversation with both of the ladies, but Gypsy's mother is not taking it. She does not want that creepy man to talk with her and her daughter. First of all, like, why are you here alone in the middle of the afternoon watching live action from Cinderella? Just creepy. Not really, but she thought it was really creepy. So every time that he was trying to come closer to them, she was just moving Gypsy around, getting her wheelchair, going to another side of the movie theater. Very creepy. She was just not having it, which was really upsetting for Gypsy and for Nicholas. Later that day, they are talking online again, and Gypsy just comes clean with him and say, look, I am not sick. I am being tortured, and she mistreats me most of the time, and I don't know what to do. I just feel like I'm locked up and I'm gonna be in this situation forever. I can walk, I can eat, I don't need my feeding tube, I do not need my freaking oxygen tank. And he just get really upset. So they plan that the only way that Gypsy's gonna be free and the only way that they can be together is if Didi dies. Later that same year, he returns to her city while Gypsy and her mother are going to the doctor's appointment. He is hiding close to her house. Once they come back, she waits until her mother goes to bed, and she opens the front door for him, let him in, give him duct tape and a knife, and tells him to do whatever he has to do. She goes to the bathroom and put her hands on her ear while he is murdering her mother because she did not want to hear the screams. After the job is done, they go to Gypsy's bedroom and they have more sexual relations. They also steal $4,000 in cash that Didi had laying around in the house. He stabbed Didi 17 times in the back, and to get rid of the knife, they decided that is the best idea to mail the knife to his house in Wisconsin. They fled to a motel. They stayed there for a couple of days thinking about the next move, and they're caught several times walking around. She's walking without her wheelchair and wearing like a blonde wig. During that time, she truly believed they got away with the crime. Gypsy, however, feels really bad of what happened to her mother. She does not like the fact that her mother has been alone in the house all this time and nobody has ever found her. So she decides to make a Facebook post, and that creeps the neighbors a lot and family members and friends. So they all rush to her house and keep calling her, keep knocking at the door, but she will not respond. She will not answer. However, her car is still in the garage. So they're thinking, it's nowhere. She is in this house. She will never leave without her car. So they call the police. They get in there, but unfortunately they cannot get in without a warrant. So while they're waiting for one, the cop says that it's okay if friends, the neighbors, want to go inside the house and just check it real quick. So they go in, they check it, but they say that everything is okay. And the only bizarre thing is that Gypsy's chair, it's still there. But they're calling both of their names, but they're not saying anything. Nobody's responding anything. Once they got the warrant, the cops go inside, and that's when they find Didi's body. A GoFundMe was created because they needed money to get through with Didi's funeral, and they also thought that Gypsy will be gone very soon too, because even if she didn't die then and they just kidnapped her without her wheelchair, her feeding tube, her oxygen tank, and all her medicines, she will probably not survive that long. With everything that was going on, the neighbor Aliyah, Gypsy's friend, decided to go to the cops and tell them that, look, she told me that she met this boy online, and now this is happening. Like, maybe you guys should look into that. They do then decided to track the IP address for the post that was made on their Facebook, and they did tracked all the way to Missouri to Nicholas' house. The next day, the police were around his house. Both him and Gypsy surrender, and they both go into custody on the charges of murder. The news that Gypsy was back and safe was a great relief, but the sheriff that was announcing the return told that not everything was as it seems. He ended up telling the truth about Gypsy's and Didi's lives, such as Gypsy was never sick and Didi was just making her and everybody else believe that she was. He also told people to stop all the donations because there might be some fraud going on. After people realized what was going on, the sympathy that was going towards Didi being a victim of a very violent murder shifted to Gypsy being a long-term victim of abuse. Now, the charge of first-degree murder in the state of Missouri is the death penalty. However, since the case was such an unusual case, the prosecutor decided to not seek that. After the attorney got her medical records from Louisiana, he pleaded a bargain for second-degree murder, which she took it. She was very, very skinny, very undernourished, and usually people who are going through this whole situation of being on trial for something so severe, they end up losing weight because they're not eating as much. She gained 14 pounds. That was like unusual, and it's just because she was just eating normal. She was eating like normal and still little, but normal. And she gained 14 pounds. Now, when she accepted the plea bargain for second-degree murder, she got 10 years in prison. Nicholas, on the other side, he got the full sentence. He got life in prison without the possibility of parole. And that is because he was the one who plotted the entire thing. He was the one who came up with the idea of murdering her. And both of them confessed that he was the one who actually committed the crime. Also, he didn't have much sympathy because he was not part of the abuse, the long-term abuse. So people just didn't see him as little poor boy. Like they were looking at her like little poor girl. She does get married on 2022. And now she is a free woman as we speak. Today is December the 28th, 2023, and today was the day that she got released. She ends up only serving 85% of her sentence. And that is the case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. There is lots of interviews online that you can find. There is photo of the crime scene that I'm not allowed to put in here due to the YouTube laws. But you can go and look for yourself. The most famous productions about this case, it's the show called The Act on Hulu that Gypsy was played by Joe King. And there's a documentary called Mom, Dad, and Dearest that is also very known. She gave interviews to Dr. Phil and other platforms, and there's a lot out there that you can find if you're really into this subject.
So my microphone stopped working again, and I only realized after I took a bath and changed clothes. It is currently 3 a.m. and I am too lazy to record a goodbye video because I recorded the entire case 3 times today due to technical difficulties. But please let me know in the comments below what you think about this case, if I gave some misinformation or if I left something behind. Your support means a lot to me and to the algorithm, so don't forget to like, share, and comment. And feel free to subscribe. It is free, and we all love some free stuff, especially in this channel. But have a good day, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!